Janet Kay is on her way.
No. But I wrote it's about something that happened a long time ago, and I wrote it recently.
Hello. I like these birds. They are cool.
I've been there a long time.
Yeah.
Since Hiroshima.
Anywho. I have three poems for you. This one is a long one, and it was written on Thomas Jefferson's birthday. You know, you look for reasons. This one's called Quarrel Over the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, both founding fathers of the United States, were good friends, but they never agreed on how the government should run. They quarreled over the Constitution. John thought it was a document that could bend to change the needs of the time, but Thomas said, "No way. This is the Constitution. There is a structure that does not bend." But as I said, they were friends nonetheless until John Adams was president. And by 1800, President Adams made the robust declaration that it is illegal to say anything bad about the President of the United States. And the federal government will get you if you ever think about committing this crime. At this point, Jefferson was enraged. Oh, this thing would scroll. Enraged, thinking that there's this little thing called freedom of speech, and this is a direct violation of anything this country is supposed to stand for. So when the next election came, Jefferson had to run against Adams to get him out of the presidency. So the two of them said anything derogatory about the other to win. Apparently because Jefferson would argue for individual rights, Adams would say things like, voting for Jefferson is voting for murder or incest because he thinks anyone could do anything they want. And Jefferson was stunned that Adams would stoop so low, so he could only retort with more bad talk about Adams. Now, keep in mind, these are the founding fathers, and they're acting like eighth graders, especially when John Adams would say things like, Jefferson has prostitutes shipped in from overseas to have sex with them all the time.
Wow.
And Jefferson's response would be to go on the newspaper and to tell them that Adams was actually a hermaphrodite with both male and female sex organs, and they actually published this. Jefferson's words on record. And at this point, Jefferson thought, fine, if he's playing dirty, let's play, because Adams then spread the word that Thomas Jefferson was actually dead. No point in voting for a dead man for president, right? I mean, really. The incumbent president's campaign strategy is vote for me. I'm alive. Good call. So Jefferson found different ways to get him back, like calling him a hatchet man, calling on hatchet man James Callender to publish newspaper articles about Adams that he wants to go to war with France. Yes, this was also published. And yes, Jefferson won, but Adams thought before he had left, he would decide to appoint into the office below him a lot of people who vehemently opposed everything Jefferson stands for, which might be a proper statement of how politicians can get things done while dealing with people from the opposing views, but really, who am I to argue or judge? So, near the end of Jefferson's first term as president, his daughter died. Abigail Adams, John's wife, felt bad, and even though they had their differences, she wrote a sympathy letter to Thomas Jefferson. And Jefferson responded, saying, "That was very kind of you, thank you, but while I have you here, John tried to ruin my presidency, so I truly only feel bad things toward you." Jefferson probably wanted to use a lot of other expletives, but I don't have the original letter, so I can't confirm his true words. And keep in mind that this maturity level of these two founding fathers, they were consecutive presidents of the United States. So Abigail said to John, "That's it. Thomas Jefferson is dead to us." And a decade went by, and them not speaking to each other, until another founding father, Benjamin Rush, told Adams to let it pass. We shared these glorious 1776 days together. Those starting the country times were magical. So John Adams fondly reflected on those times with, Tommy Jeff, and decided to write a letter, very general, hey, We haven't talked in a while. How are you doing? I miss you. I hope that you're doing okay." Jefferson got this letter, thinking that his once friend, Johnny Adge, wrote this cordial letter back. So after 10 years, they just kept writing to each other, and they realized that they had a lot more in common. By the end of their lives, they had both exchanged 158 letters. These two were friends again, and by 1826, John Adams was on his deathbed, and his last words were, "Independence forever." But they didn't know this, but they both died on the same day, July 4th, 1826, the 50-year anniversary of them signing the Declaration of Independence, which seems like the perfect ending for such a tumultuous and insanely prograding friendship. Is that not crazy? All these things have been done by the I mean, come on. That he's dead. What?
Yeah.
He's a hermaphrodite. What? And these things are published in newspapers. I thought that was the funniest thing. This one is a short one. I could not tell you what it was about. And it doesn't say that it's for a specific date. So it's just called this. Just let me have my space. All these years, it was just me and my dad. He taught me to trust no one, to be self-reliant. You would call it staying off the grid. But my dad knew what was best. He taught me to read. He knew that government schools only teach you what they want you to know. And when I first saw my dad shoot a gun, I thought this was the only life I'd ever lead. So I stayed with him. He was all I knew, and Dad was like my God. So I don't know who was right and who was wrong when people in uniforms came onto our land when they had no right to barge in. Oh, wait, I guess I'm now defining what is right and what is wrong. But after all that has recently happened, I don't know if us wanting to keep our privacy is reason enough to shoot any intruders, or if it's okay that we just got so exasperated with the public that we just decided to reject the public law with our own violence to stop the spread of the public insanity to the unknowing, unsuspecting, idiot masses. All I know is that I like my space, the trees, the river, the sun, and the weather. Just leave me alone. You and your modern views aren't welcome here. Just let me have my space. Thank you. I have a little segment of it that was on Instagram and wherever, and just a picture of me in the woods, and just let me have my space. I like my nature. I like my nature. I like my nature. Yeah. So you just
Fried or grilled?
I like my, pardon me?
Fried or grilled?
Baked, because that's the way it is in
That's the way
Texas
it
in the
is. That's
summer,
right.
so,
Very
right?
good, very good.
This last one was written on the same day as the day of the discovery of DNA, which was February 28th of 1953. They have other dates for leading up to it. You guys don't need to
Do
have
you
that.
memorize these dates, or do you just, do you,
I have them with the,
I know they're there, but do you also memorize them?
no,
Okay.
that's why I write them down.
Okay.
I don't memorize the poems either, so
Okay.
there you have it. These are all new to me, forgive me. This one is called Jumping Genes and the Infiltration of My DNA. They say that DNA can explain everything, but I shed hair follicles when I brush my hair outside or pull my ponytail rubber band. I let my DNA blow away in the wind to attach to anyone and go anywhere. They say that DNA may link me to violent crime, but my DNA can also link me to my ancestors, some of whom have done far worse things than I ever did. Because my DNA was there, that doesn't mean I was, because my DNA can move to you. They say that DNA is pure science, and it is because it is the science of how I affect everyone, people beyond me, since everywhere I go I leave a biological part of me behind. My DNA presence lingers long after I'm gone and moves to places I've never been. Me and my precious DNA, I press buttons, open doors, pay with cash. At bookstores, I scratch my head, leave psoriasis-sized scalp remains on my goth black white t-shirt, and so I brush me off onto tabletops and chairs so that my DNA scatters and leaves. And, oh boy, do I ever so place my DNA all over the place. I scatter my essence everywhere I go. I know they say that DNA can prove everything, so know that my DNA can go beyond me, and it can get all the way over to you, too. So, see what my DNA can do.